Hey, what's going on? I know it's been a long time, but you know, like I'm back and you're back and Scream is back and everyone is back, so it's time to check a classic. And by the way, I love this movie. Now, if you want to support the channel for free, you just have to subscribe and hit that bell, because I'm telling you, more videos are coming. But if you want to support the channel even more, you can do it on Patreon. You have the link below. Now, time for the movie. Okay, we start with Casey answering the phone, and it seems like a man got the wrong number, so they hang up. But the man calls again saying he just wants to talk, but she doesn't care about that, like any reasonable person. So she hangs up once more, but then the phone rings a freaking third time, and guess who that is? Yeah, the same man, and it's true what they say. Third time's a charm, because they start talking about horror movies like old friends, but suddenly the man wants to know her name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Oh my god, time to run. She locks the door and threatens to call the police. Why wouldn't you dial right away? Why would you continue talking to this man? I don't have the answer. The man rings the freaking door and then asks her to turn on the patio lights, revealing her boyfriend tied up and about to die if she doesn't play a game. The game is actually quite simple, just one question.
Name the killer in Friday the 13th.
Jason!
Now, if you're a horror fan, you know that's so wrong. It was Jason's mother in the first one. So her boyfriend dies. The man goes inside the house, so she goes out and sees her parents coming back home. You've got a chance, Casey. You just have to run. Run like Forrest Gump, like Rocky before a fight. At least like Tom Cruise after he broke his ankle. Oh, that's gruesome. But she stops for a second and the killer gets her. That's it. Moving on, we meet Sydney and her boyfriend Billy, who's at Sydney's room hoping to hit a home run, but it's more like first base and a half. Why is this so important? Because we are in a freaking horror movie and they have rules. Next morning, Sydney meets her friend Tatum, and to no one's surprise, everybody knows about Casey, so the police is there to question students. They don't find anything, but we get to know two more Sydney's friends, Stu, who's Tatum's boyfriend, and Randy, who's a very wise young man. After school and back at home, Sydney's watching TV, but everything is about Casey's case. And we also learned that Sydney's mom was murdered too. That's a bombshell right there. By the way, she's home alone because her father went out of town, so at night she receives a call and yep, it's the same man once again. At first, Sydney thinks it's Randy, as he loves movies, but then the conversation becomes more aggressive and she locks the door. Too bad, the killer is already inside the house. They start fighting and Sydney's not easy prey, so she manages to escape to her room and tries to contact 911 as the killer tries to get inside. But right when the killer disappears, Billy appears outside the window. He hugs Sydney, dropping a phone, and remember, it's 1996, people don't take phones with them. Sydney runs again and finds Deputy Dewey at the front door. Billy's then captured and they all go to the police station. The plan is to check Billy's phone records, and Tatum, who's also Dewey's sister, wants Sydney to stay over with them. That's a very good friend right there. Oh, I didn't tell you before, but there is a reporter called Gail Weathers. Sydney doesn't like her at all, and I'll explain that later. The thing is, when she sees Gail, Sydney makes that quite clear with a freaking sucker punch. Now at Tatum's home, someone calls Sydney again, and yeah, it's the same freaking man, so well, that leaves out Billy, I guess. Next morning, we get another piece of information on the news about the man who killed Sydney's mother. That it was Sydney's testimony what sentenced the man to death. And then at school, Sydney apologizes to Gail, and we get more information that during the trial, Gail said that there were some inconsistencies with the story, like Sydney seeing one man leaving the house, but not so well to confirm the man's identity. So Gail thought the supposed killer was framed, now realizing that the real killer is still on the loose and must be the same person committing the crimes now. Sydney leaves not sure anymore about what she said. She runs into Billy, who was released because there was no proof that he is the killer, and they have an argument because Billy might not be the killer, but he is stupid and just wants to make babies. She goes to the bathroom and there's a couple of girls talking trash about her, so she hides until they leave. But then someone dressed as the killer appears in there too, so she runs away. Because a bunch of people are dressing like that and scaring everyone, the principal decides to cancel classes and everyone leaves. Stu uses this as an excuse to throw a party at his place that night. But before we leave the school out of the picture, the principal is trying one of the masks because that's what principals do when no one sees them, I guess. Someone knocks on the door, but when he checks, there is nobody there except for Fred. He goes back to his office, but that's the end of the road for this man. At the rental store, Randy talks to Stu, making some sharp observations about Billy.
He's got killer printed all over his forehead. This is standard horror movie stuff. There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
That's a literate man right there. At night, the party starts and everyone is there, including Dewey and Gail, because she doesn't want to miss a good story, hiding a camera in plain sight. Tatum goes to the fridge, which is in the garage. I guess it's the beer's fridge, and finds the killer right there. She fights and actually is quite good at that, but at the last moment decides to escape using the cat's door. And come on, there is no way she's gonna fit. So she dies. Meanwhile, Sydney bumps into Billy once again. Now they go to a room alone and start talking about her mother, and they start making out, which was sadly the only way this could go. Why is that sad? Our friend Randy could explain that, but the scene is too long and YouTube doesn't like that. So here are the rules to survive in a horror movie. Number 1, no home runs, only the purest survive. Number 2, no drinking, you want to stay sharp when outrunning the killer. And number 3, never say I'll be right back, unless you want that to be in a coffin. Gail is watching all this in a van until Dewey gets there, saying there's a report on a car hiding in some bushes nearby, and asks her to join. Inside the house, the boys get a call informing them about the principal's death, so most of them leave to see that by themselves. Dewey and Gail find the car and realize it's Sydney's father. At the same time, Sydney starts talking to Billy after all the action, asking him who he called when he was arrested. Because as far as we know, he could have called Tatum's place as a good alibi. But then the killer shows up behind Billy and kills him. A chase starts, but Sydney escapes through the attic and gets to Gail's van. But after a few seconds, the killer gets there and the cameraman is dead. The killer stabs Sydney, but she escapes once again. She's very good at that. Gail and Dewey are back and split. Dewey checks the house while Gail checks the van. But the only thing Gail finds is blood and her dead cameraman. She gets scared and tries to escape, but at the same time Sydney appears in the middle of the road, making Gail lose control. Sydney goes to the house looking for Dewey, but he's been stabbed already. The killer chases her again to Dewey's car, where she informs the police about the situation, and she escapes again. She could be the next David Copperfield at this point. Randy and Stu show up, claiming to be terrified and all, but Sydney's not taking her chances. So with Dewey's gun, she gets inside the house and locks the door. At that moment, a badly wounded Billy descends from the stairs and takes the gun. That's too bad, cause he shoots Randy and reveals that he was the killer and also Stu. And his wounds are fake. It's just corn syrup. Billy says they actually framed the man in the case of Sydney's mom, and the reason was because she and Billy's dad were having an affair. And they have more surprises because they kidnapped Sydney's dad and plan to frame him too. To make everything more believable, they hurt themselves a bit too much, I think. In the meantime, Gail takes a gun, but the safety's on. Billy kicks her, but Sydney takes this opportunity to escape. Now the phone rings and it's Sydney. Let's see if these jerks like their own game. Sydney stabs Billy wearing the costume, throws a TV on Stu, and finds Randy still alive. That's awesome! Shockingly, Billy's alive too and attacks Sydney, but Gail shoots him. And when he comes back for a last scare, Sydney takes care. And that's it. That's the end of the movie, and that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. See you soon. I'm David. Have a good day. Bye.